my word. I'm screaming bite, I'm screaming bite. Every single day, each and every night, bite. That's my word. I'm screaming bite.
Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning into the Sit Down. You're now tuned into me, Rob Lee.
You got Kid over here on the right.
Perfect.
Not at this table. But ladies and gentlemen, the Sit Down is where, three good friends come together to discuss, a variety of topics, 3 to 5 topics a day, where you never know what's going to come up. You never know what's next, so you got to stay tuned for the next episode. And since, we about 10 minutes away from the end of the world, in our first episode, man.
We'll never know. It might be our last episode.
It could be the last.
On that note, let's get right to the first topic. How important is the first half of the NBA season before the All-Star break?
I think this season alone has been a very exciting season. Last season was condensed because of the lockout, you know what I mean? So this season's been exciting. However, nobody watches basketball until after All-Star break.
It depends. If you're a fan of a team, you're going to watch the team in the first half. Now if you play fantasy sports, you're going to watch that regardless of the team. You're going to watch it on national television. You're going to watch it. You could care less of how your team's doing. It's all about your players. So I think that makes the first half of the season important because it's going to set a little pace for how your players going to play in fantasy. Now, and you talk about record-wise, if it's important, if they're going to make it to the finals or something like that, and I think it's maybe 40% important. Teams get hot. So if they can go into All-Star break under 500 and they can come out on a 20-game win streak.
Teams also get cold. They start off really hot. You'll see them fizzle out. The Warriors are balling right now, but we all know that they're not an elite team. They won't be in the top 6 in the West at the end of the year. We saw the Sixers go off at the beginning of last season, but at the same time, after All-Star break, they just slid into the 7th seed?
7th, yeah, whatever it was. They need Bynum.
But what it comes down to is, when I look at it, the first half of the season is critical. You got more games in the first half of the season. True. If you think about every NBA champion in the first half in the past 3 years, even though last year was a short season, we got Miami last year. Their first games were 27-7 before the All-Star break. They finished the game after that only with 19 wins for 46-20 at the end of the season record. Dallas Mavericks, 40-16. Only won 17 after the break. Finished their season with 57-25. LA, before that, had 38-19. 19 after the break. So to me, the first half of the season is real critical to at least get yourself in position to even be in some type of lead or even competitive in the second half.
So with that saying, do you think LA will make the playoffs this year? They're what, 12-8?
I start keeping track.
They may be worse than that at this point.
They need
However, it's not arguable that even with their record, they're still one of the top 5 teams in the West as far as the talent goes.
The Lakers are not making it to the playoffs.
The Lakers not making it to the playoffs. Top 3 in the West. Top 3 in the West playoffs.
They got 4th seed to me this year.
Lakers top 3 in the West.
They'll get 4th seed.
Top 3. It's gonna be.
Everybody
wants the battle of LA.
It's due.
Clippers, Lakers, top 2 seeds in the West.
They'll get 4.
The Clippers and the Lakers
top 2 seeds in the West. They may not be 1 and 2, but it's gonna be one of them.
About San Antonio.
Doesn't matter. They're too old. They ain't built for this war right now.
Where were they at last year?
They was number 1.
They're another year older.
Where did they get eliminated in the playoffs?
Semifinals. Did they make it to the finals?
Western Conference.
Western Conference Finals. They lost to Oklahoma.
You do the math. Oklahoma.
The math is already done.
Exactly. San Antonio is not.
So I want to see.
San Antonio is not. Look at the first half of the season. San Antonio is losing and losing and losing.
So
they can't beat the Clippers.
So where the Grizzlies lie?
The Grizzlies are. I don't even put them in the topic of the show. They will be in top 7. Top 7 of the West. They're gonna fall off second half of the season, but it's the first half of the season.
So you really don't think OKC has
Memphis is phony.
Memphis is phony.
Who?
Oklahoma City.
Oklahoma has a shot.
They're not going to get the number 1 seed in the West.
Not at all.
They're the best team in basketball right now.
They're also only have a 1-game win streak ahead of the Clippers. The Clippers are the hottest. The Clippers and Oklahoma are the hottest teams in the league for the first half of the season, without a doubt. Them two on Oklahoma's on an 11-game streak, I think, and LA's on a 10-game streak. That's in the
West. I think the Oklahoma City's the worst.
Nobody in the East deserves to be mentioned in an NBA final discussion. There's
so
not one team in the East.
So the way the Knicks are dominating the whole league this year changed everything.
Look at how they're playing this year.
Which means
they're playing like garbage. LeBron, Bosh, and Wade. LeBron, you're balling. I'll give you that. Bosh, Wade, I don't know what you do. You should never left Team Jordan. You should stay with Jordan.
Wade on his way out.
I think he'd be the first one to go out of anybody. Out of those 3,
if you're gonna go with the big 3, he's probably the. I don't know. Because
either him or Bosh.
But he's never healthy. The downfall, the Wade is he's never healthy.
Because he balled.
That makes a big difference.
It does.
That makes a huge difference in your team.
Every single day, each and every night, bite, that's my word. I'm screaming bite, I'm screaming bite. Every single day, each and every night, bite, that's my word. I'm screaming bite.
I'll tell you what, let him do a runner test elbow. They ain't been about hacking anymore. But regardless, you know, that was a tough debate. You know, it was a very good topic. You know, but now, you know, this year in hip hop has been different. You know, it's been different than years past.
It's been a great year, to be honest with you.
You think it's been a great year?
I think it's been a good year in hip
It's
hop.
been the worst year hip hop I've ever seen in my life.
I think it's been a lot
sounds like a debate.
of music.
I think it's been a good year for hip hop as far as the music. There's a lot of
I can't determine if it's good or
Yeah.
bad.
It's been a lot of quantity out this year.
So, it's the
You know,
art.
some rappers are finally rich.
Finally.
Rich. You know, some people we never
Some
heard
of them don't deserve to be rich.
That's
Right.
that's not even. That's just mad. That's.
But at the end of the day, they say, you know, albums is what makes you a good artist. So I guess that leads us to 2012. What was the best album that came out this year?
Best
album that came out in 2012.
That's tough.
I mean, I had a lot. I mean, I was a big fan of Nas's album. Nas came back strong.
With no promotion.
Lupe hands down revived his career.
I think it was more consistency with him. His career was already pushing.
It was, but his
Yeah,
last album was trash.
It's like,
this album
no matter if you thought it was trash, the album sold.
Well, this album was hands down dope, but to me, the best album of the year it goes to the West Coast. Kendrick Lamar, Good Kid, Mad City.
Oh,
that hands down to me was
it was a good
album of the year.
It was the best album from start to finish. It was the best play.
Album of the year. Best well put together album of the year.
The best well put album.
It was a good album.
It went old school. You had skits, you had storytelling, you had clubs.
He's a great storyteller.
It's hard to say the West Coast left. It's hard to say any real genre, any area in hip hop is left because we live in a day and age that music is at your fingertips. It's not that we're forced to listen to Philly and New York.
We live in the art of the single. Well, not the art of the album.
Not necessarily. Actually, we live in the era of the
I wouldn't say it ain't ringtone now. Now it's all about singles and all about hits.
It's the chorus.
People don't
It's the chorus era.
Not even that. It's about the beat.
I think it's
Now it's about the
mixtape
beat.
It's not even mixtape.
To me,
it's the art of the single. How many albums have
social media
have you bought this
era?
year? How many albums have you bought this year where you listened to maybe 4 songs off the album?
Multiple. Just off the single.
I'm gonna say my album.
I haven't bought
my album of the year is the Good Music album.
That's a good one.
It was in my top 5. That's in my top. That's actually number 5 on my list.
It's like you can play that.
Say that. I can't.
You can play that all the way through.
I think that was a well put together album.
It
was different. It had three of the hottest singles of the year, hands down.
The downfall to that album is most of the songs that were really good on there were already out, even without a video.
Yeah.
That was a downfall to
It was gonna sell.
Like when I got the album, I was more disappointed in the fact that there was nothing on there that was new.
You were disappointed because you weren't surprised. Like,
that's the problem.
We used to only
You wouldn't be surprised when you get your album.
But we live in an era.
This is why I don't download the music before. Especially, I like to have the album on the release date.
Me and we've talked about this before. We don't like to listen to singles off the album the week before. We know an album comes out Tuesday.
I still buy albums.
I buy every album I can work by.
I
buy albums.
Digitally purchased.
I download the week before, but you can guarantee you can look in my car, you can look in my crib. I have a whole bunch of albums.
Best album put together.
I got you.
The best hyped album. The best well put together album.
You bought it.
Well organized. Rick Ross hands down.
That was on my list.
There was no album.
That was one of the worst. That was one of the most disappointing albums.
This album was put together so well.
That album.
This had everything on there that you needed.
That was one of the worst.
Everything.
The best part
for
of Rick
everybody.
Ross, best single of the year, "Stay Scheming," was a part of Rick Ross's era this year.
But that wasn't an album song.
Rick Ross was the workaholic.
That wasn't an album song.
That gave him the push of the album. People were expecting greatness out of Rick Ross in that album.
I do not.
That's a mixtape conversation for me, but he had one of the most
that's what pushed the album. And to me, that's what made the album. The album, as far as put together wise, hype wise, from song to song. You told me one disappointing song on the album.
I don't even know.
Three Kings. If it wasn't for Hov, if Hov was not on that song,
that song is garbage.
That song is completely trash.
It's not even
Hov saved that song.
Hold on, let me look at the track list.
Wow.
I think I got it on.
If Hov is not on that song, it's not worth listening to.
Andre needs to stop rapping.
There's two people in the world that I will never talk about hip hop again in the show. Ever. That's it. There's two people I will never talk about hip hop again.
God forgives and I don't. Let's run by.
Yeah. You got to
Pray for us.
Yeah.
Pirates was a decent intro to me.
I like it. I like
Three
Pirates.
Kings was saved by Jay-Z.
Yes.
Ashamed was the second best song on the album to me.
I don't know. I'm a fan of Diced Pineapples.
Maybach Music 4 was this disappointment.
Very much so.
16 I felt was drug out. It's a decent song, but I cannot listen to that track every day. And I love 3 Stacks on a regular basis. I can't listen
3 Stacks killed it.
Yeah, but
Ross killed it. Did they have him on there? Was this even like?
It's just the way they set it up. It wasn't. Their verses good. Locks gives you great verses, but did they make great songs? No.
It's the song.
Were they 2 good verses?
So you just tell me that he didn't have good songs on that album. That song.
That's not what I said. I just went from the first 4 tracks. I gave 2, 3 thumbs up from the first 4 tracks. No, I'm on track 6 and I gave 3 thumbs up. So what? Amsterdam. Hold Me Back was nothing but what? That should have been on the mix. That's it.
A street
It was nothing but chorus.
It should have been on the mix.
A street anthem.
It worked.
No.
9/11, no.
It did what it was supposed
So
to.
sophisticated.
I like 9/11.
So sophisticated is hard.
How does it feel when you get up in the morning? When you go to work, how you gonna feel?
I would rather.
My point exactly.
It touched you.
It touched you that way.
That's not the song I want to listen to before I go to work.
I feel what you're saying, but when you go do something, you gonna pop that in. You gonna think about it.
I feel Rose on the song. I feel Rose on the majority of his music. I feel like Rose's last album was better than this album. But I feel like this album should be mentioned in no album of the year.
Let me explain my opinion.
Besides the fact that maybe it's sold units. That's the only reason.
Let me explain my opinion.
Wow.
I'm not saying that this album was trash. I'm not saying it was the worst album of the year.
It's just not the best album of the year.
It was the most disappointing album of the year. And Meek was second.
I think disappointing album goes either 2 Chainz or Meek Mill as the year's most disappointing album. If it was
I think 2 Chainz.
2 Chainz was disappointing.
Album was disappointing.
2 Chainz album should be up in album for
That's number 3.
Comparing it to his mixtape. I like his mixtape better.
That's why I put him there.
That's why the reason I said that.
But I love Rich
The album's good.
Rich Forever should have been the album.
I think if we're gonna go for hype, I think he came through more than Rick Ross did.
He delivered a more quality product coming off of a great mixtape. Hands down. He delivered a better quality product.
Rick Ross mixtape, Rich Forever, I think.
And
that was a hell of a mixtape.
Rich Forever should have been the album.
It should have been.
If that had been the album, this conversation would have changed.
This conversation would have changed. That goes to prove even more why his album it's just not album of the year.
I understand.
Because you can look, because if you
but
can
when you think about from song to song on there,
only comparing with mixtape. His mixtape was like I said.
Rick Ross to me is established.
Yeah, I love Stress.
As far as
he's definitely established.
He's established, and when you think about a rapper, when he has an album coming out, you're gonna want to listen to it now. This album was the album that done that now.
At this point,
the last album.
His last album.
The last
album.
The last album wasn't as hype as this one.
It wasn't as hype,
but the last album is the album that certified concrete. Now I'm here.
He's not going anywhere. He's not going anywhere until he shoots himself.
I'm a mogul type album.
He has to shoot himself in the foot for him to stop.
The flow change. But I like his first album was more significant to me. But we're not gonna go into that. What's your pick?
You know, I'm gonna shock everybody. The album that gets the most rotation in my vehicle right now.
That's not what we asked you. We said what's the best album.
Now let me finish. I can relate to the most. Now it's not lyrically the best, but in my opinion, it just fits. Me drop. I can just see myself listening to this the entire year. I'm gonna give it to the guy y'all don't like. Don't like Mr. Chief Keef himself gets album of the year.
I got 3 questions. I got 3 questions for you. I got 3 questions for you. Do you smoke?
I don't smoke.
Do you drink daily?
Hello?
No.
Do you game bang?
I need an officer here right now. That was a crime committed right now. I need an officer here right now.
I'm sorry for cussing.
Did you cuss?
Are you serious?